Hello, students. Let's continue the chapter crop production and management. So, in lecture 3, we'll study different methods of crop variety improvement. Right now, we have a huge crowd. That means population is very high. So, we have to produce or we have to cultivate a lot of crop. That means in a large scale, we have to do the cultivation. So for that thing, it is not enough that you are just going to search so many fields and you are going to cultivate the crops in a large scale. Also, the variety also we have to improve. So here, the methods of crop variety improvement we require for this reason. Now, crop variety improvement is the primary step to improve the food crop production. I I told you one thing, that we require the quality of the food crop and also the quantity. That two things we have to keep in our mind whenever we are going for crop production in a very large scale. So this crop variety improvement, it helps in the development of the crops with desired traits such as high yields, disease resistant, quality products, and response to fertilizers. So here, that means we are going to make different types of crop and we are going to upgrade the quality of the crop just to get large scale output or just to get high yields, and it should be disease resistance, because whenever the cultivation will be going on at the time of growth, it has been seen that insects, they just destroying they are just destroying our crops. So these crops should be disease resistant and it should produce the quality products, and also it should respond to the fertilizer. That means the use of the fertilizer should be in a very proper quantity, and it should respond to the fertilizers. And we can raise different strains of food crops with desirable traits naturally as well as scientifically. So researchers are going on just to get out from these problems. That means the insect problem, the pest problem, and also the low quality problem. So we have to avoid all these problems. After that, we have to find out the crop variety, and that variety should be the most superior variety, and that variety will give us high yield, disease resistant, quality products, and the crop should respond to the fertilizers. That is very, very important. So here, two of them are as follows. Like, first one is the hybridization. Now hybridization is what? Suppose you have two crops, and that means a similar crop and two types are there. At that time, what you can do, the crossing of genetically dissimilar plants is referred to as the hybridization, right? The hybridization means the crossing of genetically dissimilar plants is referred to as hybridization. So hybridization may take place between different varieties, between two different species of the same genus, or between two different genera. So intergenetic also can happen, interspecific also can happen, and intervarietal also can happen. So hybridization, this is the method, this is the method using which we have improved the quality of crop, and it has been seen that these crops are resistant to the insects also. So here you can see that if this is one type of species, this is another type of species, using these two we can make this type of species. So the crossing of genetically dissimilar plants is referred to as the hybridization, and hybridization, it can take place in different cases. First case, that is the Varietal, intervarietal. Second case, that is the interspecific, interspecific, and the third case, that is the intergeneric. Intergeneric. Okay, we are taking two different genera, then we can make the hybrid crop, or we can make the hybrid species. Another thing, we can take two different species of the same genus, then we can make also the hybrid species. So hybridization also we can make using two varieties also. So we can have the hybrid species by using intervarietal, interspecific, and intergeneric. Okay. Now the gene incorporation. So genes are responsible for the traits. Now, if we can mix up the genes at that time, we can do one thing, that we can improve the crop quality, also the quantity, by incorporating the genes of desirable traits. So if you have the, that means here we are producing, here you can see that in this picture, this is one type of corn and this is another type of corn. So we are just adding the two properties of this, and then we are making another good quality crop. So genes, these are responsible for the traits. Now what we are doing, we are going to improve the crop quality and the quantity also by adding genes with desirable traits. And this method is more scientific and results more genetically modified food crops. So here we are using the gene incorporation just to produce much more high quality and also high quantity of the crops. Now the crop production is more like a business in many countries. They are producing in those countries, they are producing some crops just for exporting, to export those crops and to earn the money. That means to boost up the economic condition. So the strains we develop must be economically profitable. That means the crop production, it has a long procedure, right? From soil preparation to up to harvesting. So that means a huge money will be included here. That means some expenditures here. So this expenditure, after that, whatever the quantity of the crop and quality of the crop, that should be analyzed, so that whenever we are going to export that type of crop, or whenever we are going to export or sell that type of crop, then this should be economically profitable activity. Otherwise it is not for us to cultivate or to agriculture a large scale, in a large scale. So the new varieties should be able to produce maximum quality and quantity under different conditions and regions. We need to be very selective about the seeds for its acceptance. Now one thing is very important, what are the requirement of the market, right? That means, is there any scarcity? Is there any scarcity? If there is no scarcity, your production is not valuable for the market. So that thing is important. Similarly, the quality of the product, that is also very important. And the quantity also, that is very important. So first thing is that we have to analyze the market, not only for our India, that also for the whole world, what they want. Like sugar cane, that sugar we are exporting, right? And also we are exporting rice. So that means there is a need of these things, and it has some good economic value until unless we are not going to export that thing. So because there is a huge cost for the production of large scale uh, pulses, large scale any crops. So it should be economically profitable. That thing you should keep in your mind. So the new variety, if you are doing the hybridization, or if you are doing some incorporation of the genes, the new variety of the crop, it should satisfy all these conditions. Yes, the crop requirement is very high, and because the scarcity in the whole world is high, and the quality is very good of the crop whatever you are cultivating, and the quantity also, I can provide the market a huge number of crops, that means a large scale of the crops. So that is very, very important, right? So agriculture, this is a business idea also, and this is money making business idea. And it is, if your agriculture, if your cultivation is economically profitable, then it's okay, so you can move forward and you can do it. Okay, now why is crop variety improvement is important? Now we know that the resources are very limited and demand is very high, because the population is going to be very high. And one thing always you remember, that the rice or the wheat whatever you are saying, these are not only the use of these crops. We can make several things using the rice crop, we can make several things using the wheat crop, we can make using wheat crop. So here, that means a lot of things we have to do. So we have, the demand is very high, that's why we are going to cultivate it in a large quantity. And the basic reason for variety improvement is to meet these requirements. So this is the main thing why we are going for the variety improvement of the crop. Now, however, quality and quantity of the crop produced should not be compromised due to the limited resources and present scenario. Because if you are cultivating and the quality is not good at that time, you can see that at that time it will not be, it cannot be say it cannot be sold in your area. So it is not required for us. And the quantity also, if they have a high demand, and you are not going to fulfill that demand, so at that time also they will not buy your cultivated crops. So this is why scientists develop different varieties. The different strains should be able to show maximum productivity under any diverse conditions. This leads to the idea of improvement of the food crops. Now sometimes it happens that one thing, the desire, there will be some diverse conditions. Suppose the monsoon crop, right? And this monsoon crop, that is kharif crop, at that time you can see that the rainfall is not good in this year. But last year the rainfall was so good. So it may be the crop production was so good, but now in this year there is some drought in some areas, or there may be the rainfall may be very less amount, so that the crops are not so much in high scale. So what you will do? So that's why we are going for the improvement. We are going for the improvement so that this type of conditions will not affect our production. This type of conditions will not affect our production of the crops. So that's why the improvement of food crops variety is very, very important. Now the variety improvement is done following reason. First thing is the higher yield. Crop variety improvement, the main goal is that if you have one land here, you require large scale production, large scale production, large scale production. How many plants you have, I don't know, but the crops or the rice, if it is paddy plant, if it is wheat plant, at that time you require large scale of this production. Then the quality products. So whenever you are going for export, or whenever you are going to hand over your food crops to anybody, at that time they will judge the quality, and according to the quality it will be demanding crop. So quality, you should remember that quality of the product, that is very, very important. Like pulses and grains, they must be better baking quality. Oil crops should have quality oil. So at the time of whenever you are just going to cultivate the mustard, so at that time also you have to think about the good quality oil should be taken out. And also for the pulses and grains, you should think about the baking quality should be very high. So these points are very, very important for the improvement, because our goal is to get high yield, our goal is to get high quality of the product, and the other things is that resistance. Now, if you are growing a field of if you are growing so many plants, at that time the insects, they are attracted to the plants, and they will just insects, they are, and these living factors, these are very, very important. So biotic factors also, like insects, parasites, diseases, and abiotic factors like hot, cold, drought, salinity, etc., all these will affect the crop production. So resistant variety that will withstand these factors and give high yield. That means whatever the insect that plants, those have the some resistant of this insect or the pests. So these insects, they have the resistant variety, and also they were not, they are least amount of affected by the hot, cold, drought, salinity, this type of abiotic factors. Before that, we have described in one slide the biotic factors, where we have insects, parasites, because whenever 3 to 4 months you are taking to grow some plant, you can see the parasites also. Insects also can affect your crop, and there will be some disease, and you can see that they can eat the leaves also. So these factors will be very important, and the bird also, this is also important biotic factor. And abiotic factor here, abiotic factor, here we have considered the temperature. That means how much cold is there, some drought is there. So we are considering all these things. And so the crop should be resistant with respect to this biotic factor and abiotic factor also. Because if they will spoil our crops, at that time they will just affect our crop. At that time we are not able to cultivate a huge number of we are not able to cultivate huge number of we are not able to huge number of crops, so the yield will fall. So what we have studied here, that the crop, whatever the variety we are growing after the researches, that crop should be resistant to the abiotic and biotic factors. Okay. Next is that the maturity period. Now, the maturity period here, to shorten the period of maturity or to develop uniform maturity period, that is also a very challenging thing. Now, the short maturity period of the crops helps the farmer in multiple rounds of cultivation in less expenditure during a short period. Suppose you have one field here now, and one crop production to from seed to crop. That means this time will be less. At that time, you know that throughout the year, you can make the farmers, they can make the similar crop several times. So several times they can make the similar crop. So short period of maturity, that is acceptable for us. And uniform maturity of the crops also helps in easy harvesting. So thus overall variety of improvement makes the situation more profitable. Here you can see that development here, and here some commercial maturity, and this is the over matured thing. So we require up to the commercial maturity. So this maturity period is very, very important, and they are trying to develop the organic quality, or they are trying to develop the organic quality so that the maturity period is less, and at that time the farmers, they can cultivate several times the same type of crops several times with a short period. So more yield, obviously you have more yield, and but we should not compromise with the quality. The quality is the best here. Okay. Now the adaptation. Now we know that weather is a very important factor for the cultivation. Okay. So weather is a very important factor for the cultivation. That means how much sunlight is you have. That means some radiation, sun radiation. Okay, sun radiation. This is important. Precipitation. This is also important, and the drought is there or not, that is also important. So all these things, these are very important to grow any crop. But your variety of the crop, that should be tolerant to these things. That means to develop the tolerance and make the crop more adaptable to different conditions, we require the adaptation quality should be very high, and the adaptation property is very high. So the crops can be grown even in diverse conditions. Like I have told you, no, suppose in this year rainfall is low, less amount, but previous year rainfall is so good that kharif crops are very good. But it is not like that in this year if rainfall is less, at that time the kharif crops will be very less. It is not like that. So how we can meet that scarcity? How we can export the grains? How we can be economically strong? So that's why our crop, whatever after improvement, those crops, it should be grown even in the diverse conditions, like crop with tolerance to high salinity soil. This is very important. So this adaptation also important. Now the desirable agronomic characteristics. To develop the desirable agronomic characteristics in the crop, this helps in a higher yield in less expenditure. Like dwarfness in cereals reduces the nutrient consumption without affecting the yield. So here we can do one thing with the dwarfness. Sometimes it will help us. So here you can see in this picture dormancy and germination. Some stress adaptability has been incorporated. Bitterness and stress adaptability, and seed and fruit color, and human desirable psychostimulant has been given. So these are the different types of the agronomic characteristics. So in this desirable agronomic characteristics, we can get high yield by in less expenditure. And sometimes what we are doing, the dwarfness of the cereals, because you know that if the plant is very long, at that time it will just take more nutrition from the soil. So dwarfness sometimes it is very acceptable. Now the improvement in crop yield. Now crops are plants grown on a larger land area to provide the food for the growing population, right? Now to improve the yield of the crops, what we should do? First, we should understand the factors that affect the growth of the crops, because the factors, if we can change the factors, we can the crop can be resistant with respect to the factors. Then also we can improve the crop yield, we can increase the yield. So this is very important. First we have to analyze what are the factors that will affect the growth of the crops. And here the crop are grown depending upon the seasons. Seasons means the rainy season, monsoon season. So rabi crops in winter season like wheat, gram, peas, etc. So the kharif crop here in the monsoon crop, high water requirement it has. And rabi, that is winter crop, here October to February it will grow. That we like wheat, barley, gram, peas, mustard. Zaid crop, that is summer crop, March to June. Watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetables, fodder crops. So all those things we require. That means first thing is the season. What is very important for us? The season is very important for us. That means this season that will affect the season that will affect the yield. That will affect the yield. That is also very important to remember. Now, in order to improve the crop yield, we can add the following approaches. Crop variety improvement. Just now I have told the crop variety improvement, crop production management, and nutrient management. These three things are very important, right? Now, suppose here you can see that the crop variety improvement already we have studied, and crop production management, that is also important, and nutrient management, that is also important. So some issues are there, like environmental issues, some high food demand you have, and low arable land, scarce water, low farm income. All those things we have to consider at the time of crop production management. So what we have to do, but the result should be increased crop yield, enhanced net income, reduced carbon footprint. So that we have to think about this thing. And all these 3 points we should keep in our mind whenever we are going to cultivate any crop. Now, what is organic farming? So nowadays you are hearing one term, that is organic fruit, organic vegetables. So what is organic farming? So it is the practice of farming or raising the crops, other livestock without using any inorganic chemical fertilizer and pesticides or any other genetically modified organisms. That means the organic farming, here we are practicing the farming, we are raising the crops, but we are not using synthetic pesticides, we are not using inorganic chemical fertilizers, and we are not using some modified organisms. So we are just we are using, without this we are going to cultivate one thing, that is the organic farming. So in the organic farming, here green leaf manures we are using, crop rotation we are using. That means in same field, suppose one type one crop you are growing for monsoon season, next season type 2 crop will you are growing, then type 3 in the same field. That means different crops you are growing. So crop rotation you are doing just to enhance the fertilization property of the soil. So that means crop rotation in this case, whatever we are doing, suppose we are cultivating paddy plants, suppose we are cultivating rice or wheat, we are cultivating wheat. At that time, after that, we are adding some pulses, cultivation of the pulses that will increase the nutrition of the field soil. So crop rotation is a method. Biological management, this is another method. Animal husbandry, that is the method. Biofertilizers, we are not using normal inorganic chemical fertilizers, we are using biofertilizers. We are using biofertilizers. And manures also, we are using natural manures, vermicompost, this we are using. So that means whatever the things we are using at the time of cultivation, those things are natural things, not any synthetic pesticides we are using, not any inorganic chemical fertilizers we are using. Also, we are increasing the nutrition of the soil by crop rotation method. This is the very good method. So this is the organic farming. Now with organic farming, the productivity of the farming fields is enhanced with along with the economic growth, thus promising a sustainable environment. Because you know that if I am using now synthetic pesticides, it will kill the, it will just affect the crops also, it will affect the soil also. The soil, sometimes it has been seen that the soil is not acceptable for any other crop production. So that thing we are avoiding using the organic farming. Nowadays, the farmers are aware of harmful and toxic effect of the fertilizers and chemicals that they are using. Sometimes for better maturity, what they are doing, they are using so many chemicals. So those chemicals actually that will affect our digestive system also. So the organic farming that has come and into picture. Now we are going for the organic farming, where we are using natural manure and we are not using any inorganic chemical fertilizers, and we are not going for type of any type of chemicals whatever harmful for the soil as well as for the plant also. Okay. Now, as that, whenever we will do this organic farming, it has several benefits. They are eco-friendly, help to reduce the soil infertility and soil erosion issues. And it enhances the organic productivity, which promotes a healthy lifestyle. So, organic farming, this is very very important. And we organic farming, that I have told you, we are not using any synthetic pesticides, any inorganic chemicals, so it will protect, or it will protect, or I can say in other words that it will avoid the infertility of the infertility of soil, infertility of soil, that I have told you. After one round of production, you can see that the soil is not at all cultivable. So it will not occur at the time of organic farming, and it will enhance the organic productivity also and a healthy lifestyle also. Now, types of organic farming. Here, the two types, pure organic farming and integrated organic farming. What are the types? One is the pure, one is the integrated organic farming. Integrated organic farming. Okay. Now, pure organic farms, this involves avoiding all artificial chemicals. They are using green leaf, they are using manures. You can see cow dung, this type of vermicompost. These are naturally available, and biofertilizers, animal husbandry. They are using biological management. So pure organic farming involves avoiding all artificial chemicals. All artificial chemicals. They will use natural manure, green leaf manures. What they are doing, some green leaves you have, or sometimes you can also do it in your home, whatever the whenever you are just peel off all the outermost part of the vegetables, you just keep it in one place, then you just dump it under the soil, so you can see that the soil is more fertilizer, it has more fertilizer. So every fertilizer and pesticides that are used are derived from completely natural sources such as blood meal or bone meal. Okay, so these are not synthetic or any inorganic chemical fertilizer. And integrated organic farming involves integrated techniques aimed at achieving ecological requirement and also the economic demands. So, integrated pest management and nutrition management, that is very important here in the integrated organic farming. Now, nutrients management in organic farming, it follows a healthy way. In this case, composted organic manure is used for the nutrition of the crops. It improves the organic content and fertility of the soil. So, composted organic manure we are using. Apart from manures, we are using bacterial and fungal biofertilizers. Biofertilizers that we are using to enhance the soil nutrients. So we are using first thing, that is the composted organic manure, that increases the nutrition of the crops and it improves the organic content and fertility of the soil. And the second thing is that bacterial or fungal biofertilizers we are using just to enhance the soil nutrients. Here you can see that for organic fertilizer, here no chemical fertilizer we are using. Micronutrients, the proportion we are keeping our minds. Biofertilizers we are using. Crop rotation we are using. Balanced nutrition we are thinking about this. Soil nutrient testing we are doing, and intercropping we are doing. Also microdosing we are doing. So high yield, that will give, from high field you can get the high yield also. Now, weed and pest management. Weed, those are unwanted plants you have whenever you are cultivating a very large field. At that time, you can see that some plants you have, those are unwanted, and those are taking the nutrition of the soil along with your required crop. So crop rotation, mixed cropping, and organic control, hand weeding are the techniques of organic farming to maintain the soil fertility, and pest and weed control. This pest and weed control is very, very important. So weed, those are unwanted plants here, so we have to remove these things, otherwise it will just take all the, it will take all the nutrition whatever we are giving to our plants. So this nutrition, that is very important for the production, that's why you we have to think about this. Now, this system of the pest and weed management and soil protection, that will make the organic farming the best method. And neem pesticides we are using. As you know that the neem, this is very good leaf and it is a medicinal leaf. So the insects will be away from our plants. So neem pesticides we are using, and it has been seen that this is natural pesticide, so it cannot affect your soil as well as it cannot affect your crop. There will be no bad effect on this. So it will just avoid, or it will just take your, all the insects will be away from the plants of the or the crops. So neem pesticides are preferable for our crop management. Now the disease management. So disease, these are major concern whenever we are going for cultivation. And we supply important macro and micronutrient, and adopting crop rotation is crucial to prevent the various plant disease. Even the soil is enriched with useful microbes, fungi, bacteria to prevent the harmful organism in check. So we are using different types of disease management methodology. Here, first we have to know what are the different types of disease. Like here you can see that tobacco mosaic virus, how it affects the leaves. Cauliflower mosaic virus, they will just destroy all the crops. Barely yellow dwarf, lettuce mosaic virus, sugarcane mosaic virus, bud blight, maize mosaic virus, peanut stunt virus, leaf curl virus. So you can see a lot of virus we have that are affecting our plants, that are affecting our crops, and it will destroy whatever the things we are going to do. So that we have to think about the disease management. And before that, we know what are the different diseases that can happen with the plants. Okay, till then, till now for today. Thank you.